Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said Wednesday it was not correct to say that Russia's President Vladimir Putin had rejected Trump's Ukraine peace plan. According to Associated Press instead, Peskov said, a direct exchange of opinions took place. Peskov declined to comment further on the talks. "We're deliberately not going to add anything," he said. "It's understood that the quieter these negotiations are conducted, the more productive they will be." The comments come as U.S. President Donald Trump's push for a peace deal to end the conflict in Ukraine is intensifying. Officials from the U.S., Ukraine, and Russia have crisscrossed the globe in recent weeks in a flurry of meetings aimed at negotiating an acceptable proposal for Moscow and Kiev.
Нет, она не будет правильной. Она не будет правильной. Дело в том, что, собственно, такой вот прямой обмен мнениями он состоялся вчера в первый раз. И, как вчера было сказано, что-то было принято, что-то было отмечено как неприемлемое. Это нормальный рабочий процесс поиска компромисса. Мы специально не будем ничего добавлять, имеет понимание, что чем в большей тишине будут эти переговоры вестись, тем больше продуктивность этих переговоров. Вот этому принципу мы будем придерживаться и надеемся, что и наши американские визави также будут придерживаться этому принципу.
The fear is palpable in this Palestinian village. It's clear in how farmers gather their harvests quickly, how they scan the valley for movement, how they dare not stray past certain roads. According to Associated Press, at any time, they say, armed Israeli settlers could descend. "We have been prevented from accessing our lands gradually," said Yasser Alkam, a Palestinian-American lawyer and farmer from the village of Termis Aya. In recent months, Alkam says Termis Aya has weathered near-daily attacks by settlers, especially after they set up an outpost that the anti-settlement watchdog group Peace Now says is on his village's land. Alkam says he can't reach his own fields for fear of being assaulted. In a particularly gruesome attack, he watched a settler beat a Palestinian woman unconscious with a spiky club. The fear is shared throughout the West Bank. During October's olive harvest, settlers across the territory launched an average of 8 attacks daily, according to the United Nations Humanitarian Office. The most since it began collecting data in 2006. The attacks continued in November, with the UN recording at least 136 more by November 24. Settlers burned cars, desecrated mosques, ransacked industrial plants and destroyed cropland. Israeli authorities have done little beyond issuing occasional condemnations of the violence. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu described the attackers as a minority that did not represent most settlers in the West Bank, where settlements are considered illegal by most of the international community. But their continued expansion of outposts conducted in public with seemingly few legal repercussions and the violence have cemented a fearful status quo for their Palestinian neighbors. While driving in fields east of Termis Aya on October 19, Alkam saw Afaf Abu Alia, a grandmother from a nearby village, harvesting a grove of olive trees. They were loaned to her after the Israeli military bulldozed her own 500 trees this year, she said. She worked until she heard yelling in Hebrew.
Out who the owner of the land is. We have been prevented from accessing our lands gradually. The attacks by settlers have been increasing gradually. They started years ago, but since October 7th, they have increased in how constant the attacks are, and how frequent the attacks are, and how serious the attacks are. And those settlers come from outposts.
قاموا لحقونا الجيش، قاموا حجزوا أخو جوزي، طلعنا قعدنا نستنى فيهم، قاموا ضربوني كون بلك غاز، أنا خرجت من الغاز، قعدنا نستنى في يفلتوا الجيش، قاموا شوي لهم هاجمين علينا المستوطنين، بكوا لهتي في العربة يبدأ طل عليهم، واليوم هجوا ضربوهم حجر. قاموا شلهم شارع وانا ضليت بحرت ما كنت ما شفتش حدا ما لهجم علي مثل وحوش وبلشوا وين ما جاوا يضربوا.
The guys that you saw, they were here around.
Any incidents of lawlessness are dealt with to the full extent of the law. The IDF operates under strict ethical guidelines and international law in Judea and Samaria. Commander of the Central Command made it clear that the IDF does not accept any situation in which lawbreakers harm property and civilians.
They are attacking Palestinians because they don't want them here. They are targeting our existence, not our initiative, not our work, not our support for the families. They are targeting us for our nationality as Palestinian, not for harvesting olives.
In the last 2 years, the violence has increased, and the violence is now also against international activists and against Israeli activists. So we can say that we are switching our presence to protective presence into solidarity presence, just to witness what is happening here, to stand side by side, to make the families able to harvest a little bit like today in Sinjil, but also to go back and to be ambassadors for FASA, for example, ambassadors in general against the violence that we are witnessing here.